What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chaotic Minds. As always, this is Winged.
And the midget.
Don't give me that look. Don't
English,
give me that. I'm working on it.
Do you speak it?
I am working on it. Jeebus.
Brain function lately. Sorry, guys.
Hi, sorry. So hopefully y'all enjoyed the conspiracy theory episode. I know there was a lot that we didn't touch on, and some of them
we
were
didn't
just
go into
too out there for my personal taste. Other ones were a little too like
overdone.
Yeah, like
some of them
horribly
that we didn't
overdone.
Do. Yeah,
but we do appreciate y'all listening to it.
And it's good to know DIA is the center of the lizard people and
The
your secret
Illuminati.
society.
Anyways, so there's
I almost didn't want to do one this week, by the way,
that.
because of the whole brain melting
Yeah,
flu shot.
but we persevered
Yay.
We got through it. And we're doing it.
I still feel like absolute garbage, so if I say random shit that makes absolutely no sense, blame it on the flu shot.
So like
Just
every,
kidding. Don't blame it on the flu shot, because then you'll be blaming everything on the flu shot, and I don't get the flu shot every day. Shut
just
up.
like every time that we do this show,
Yes.
you say random things that don't make sense.
Yes.
So like right now.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that we were clear on that.
No,
Anyways,
I got a flu shot yesterday, and my head is like screaming at me like our boss's was.
Yeah,
and
well,
she didn't come in.
that actually brings me up to something. Brings up something for me.
Okay.
I categorically refuse to get a flu shot because
you got to start
always
wearing a mask tomorrow.
No,
Yeah, you do.
I can opt out. Elliot opted out.
Yeah. And
so
starting after the 3rd, you have to wear a mask if you don't get a flu shot.
They can suck my dick. Nobody said that to me. There was no memo. I got no notification of this. So if they're expecting me to come in there wearing a mask, tough. Here's my reasoning for why I don't get a flu shot.
You end up sick.
Huh?
You end up sick.
Well, there's that. But no. So the flu shot gives you the vaccination for the previous year's flu. They take the virus, make it inert, and then inject it, and then your body fights it off, so that way it simulates, and the white blood cells remember the shape, makeup, all that kind of fun stuff of the flu.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
However, the flu is a virus, which means that every year when it comes back around, the reason why people still get the flu even after having it every year of their life or whatever is because it constantly mutates.
It's different every year. Yes.
So what the flu shot trains your body is if there is a flu virus variant that is similar to something that you've had before, it'll be able to register, be like, oh, that ain't supposed to be here, and go after and attack it before.
The base of all flu viruses looks the same. So the flu shot helps in the aspect of keeping you out of hospital, because the flu this year is supposed to be really bad.
But I don't get it because I always end up getting fucking sick. And I just don't I don't see the point in it. It's one of those things where it's been around forever, like ever. And
Forever?
it's never going away. Because it's constantly evolving and changing and all that kind of stuff, it's never going to go away. And because technically viruses, you can't kill a virus like you can kill bacteria
with an antibiotic.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's immortal.
Yeah, pretty much.
So there is no way
it's like
that
the common cold. It's a virus.
The common cold is the flu.
Common cold is different than the flu.
Whatever.
You have the common cold, which Phil has, and the flu, which puts your ass down for a few days.
Yeah. I don't see the point in it. Now, if there were
I do it to keep my ass at the hospital.
Well, there are some things that I will.
We already work there.
There are some things that I will go ahead and I will vaccinate myself against, and I will be fully honest with that. Like if one of the things that they pull out of, something that we found prehistoric man frozen in a glacier, yada yada. One, put that shit back.
Put it back.
Put it back where you found it. Leave it the fuck alone.
Speaking of which, sorry, rabbit hole thought.
Okay.
Did you see the first female pharaoh was dug up and all of her shit was taken out?
Yep.
They destroyed her wine bottles.
Put that shit back.
No, duh.
Put it back.
It's the reason why my brain is all fucked.
Anyways,
Rabbit hole.
It's never going away. So why am I going to get it now? Like I said, if something happens like an ancient or a prehistoric or whatever, bacteria or antibody or a virus or whatever
Something
happens to start spreading, you better believe your ass that I'm getting that shit. I'm
gonna get the vaccination for the T virus.
Okay. So you're gonna have the T virus.
Yes.
Because once again, it's a virus,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't die.
Yeah.
I'm not sleeping next to a zombie. You can fuck off.
I'm already cold.
Not always.
Well, I'm hot to you all the time.
Well, yes, but no, like, even you admit hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Like, I'm cold, give it about 5 minutes. I'm roasting, give it about 5 minutes. I'm cold, give it about 5 minutes.
Especially for me after the flu shot. Like, today has been crap. All I want to do is curl up into a ball and sleep.
Yeah.
Because it's the flu shot. It always does this. Hence the reason I get it on my day, have 2 days off in a row, and get it on one of those days or the night before, because I know my ass is going to be sicker than a dog.
Yeah. Like, here's the thing. Break it down. I trust vaccinations. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, they cause autism.
No, they don't.
No, the fuck they don't. You can go online and find 100 million things, like scientific proof it does not. However, you can go online and you can find one article or an article that links to a singular article that says it does, and you're going to believe that. Like, we can't change your opinion on that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Your opinion's wrong.
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and sometimes they stink. But it's just like, I don't know. So having to work in a place where it's mandatory or you have to opt out or whatever the rules may be, it comes down to personal choice. And my choice in the matter was every time I get the actual flu bug, I end up sicker than a dog and probably in a hospital. So yeah, I really would rather get the flu shot rather than end up in a hospital for 4 or 5 days like I did the last time I had the flu.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand where you're coming from. I personally don't get it. Like, if other people want to get it, fine. Good on them. That's great. I won't. I'm sorry.
I mean, like I said, it's all a personal choice.
I'll end up getting the immunity from, or, having to deal with it from you. That's just how it works. So,
yeah.
Why do I need to bother getting it?
I mean...
Anyways, you had something else that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, Halloween. I actually read an article earlier today. It was about some towns banning children older than 14 to go trick-or-treating, which is ridiculous. Because, frankly, if they're out there trick-or-treating, they're not out there causing trouble.
Well, we hope. Because, like, I remember when I was growing up, trick-or-treating, like, you went till you were, like, 13.
Yeah.
And then the only time that you went after that is if you had younger siblings.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's still fun. It's still fun for the kids. I mean, our kids this year, they finally come to the realization that they could either go trick-or-treating and get a little bit of candy, or... let's not go trick-or-treating, and Mom always hits the 50% off sale on November 1st. So they figured out that they can get twice, 4 times, 5 times more candy just by me. And the ones that they like, just by me going and buying it on November 1st.
One of our kids did that. He's just like, no, I'm not doing it.
No, 2 of them. Nathaniel had the choice to go too, but with the younger siblings, and he's like, no.
Yeah, see, that's my point. Bug, on the other hand, she was going to go.
She was going to go, and then people backed out at the last minute, and then she decided not to go, and then she hung out with a couple of friends, and then, just had kind of a chill night. And then, of course, I brought home candy the next day. So
you're for the traditional, hey, let's go out and go door to door and that kind of stuff. What's your take on trunk or treat? For those, well, real quick before we
Yeah,
go
because I
into
have
that,
something to say about that.
trunk or treat is like it's almost like a car show, but like a bunch of people gather in like a parking lot, and you just get candy from going to different cars. And
Yeah,
it's like a big meetup for like
it
parents or
it
adults or
ends
stuff
up.
like that.
They say it ends up being safer and stuff like that, and which I get. But it's kind of ruining the whole idea of getting dressed up and going door to door and going trick or treat. The traditional trick or treating. Granted, traditions can change and things can change and evolve, which they have.
Yeah.
But it's like I remember growing up, my dad or my mom, depending on who was off that day, driving down the block as we're walking, because forget getting in and out of the car on the block. You dropped off at one end of the block, and there'd be a parade of parents driving down the block, watching their kids as they go to each house. And then at the end of the block, you'd get in the vehicle, and then you'd go to the next block. And so we weren't crossing streets and stuff
Right.
like that. I remember doing that as a kid, and I did that for the longest time with these guys, with our three.
Yeah.
And then just as they got older and as their dad and I split and they were over at their dad's most of the time, they went to trick-or-treating and they went to different little haunted houses or whatever you wanted to call it and stuff like that. But they'd only go trick-or-treating for a few blocks, and then everybody was like, it's too cold. And I mean, granted, half the time here in Colorado it snows on Halloween, so I mean, I get it, but at the same time, trunk or treat is usually held the week before Halloween, and then kids are like, it's Halloween, let's go out and trick or treat. So now it's double, and granted, they're smart like that because they'll get more candy, but
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was growing up, when I was in high school, or not high school, middle school, my parents would, like, we'd get dressed up, and I lived on a street that was pretty straight, and we would start at our house, walk across the street, and hit up every home on the other side of the street, all the way down to the next major intersection. Cross the street.
basically go down to a crosswalk, a light.
No. Like, it wasn't the very next crosswalk. No, I'm talking like major street, because
Yeah.
we had side streets and all that. And
Yeah.
a lot of
No,
them
I'm talking about
were-
major light.
Yeah. Then we crossed the street and we walk back down the other way on our side of the street. And then by the time we got done, our pillowcases or our bags or whatever were full,
Pillowcases.
and that was how we did it.
Yeah. Did
there
you guys
were-
have the parent tax?
Oh, of course. They had to go through the candy and be like, okay, these are all safe. I'm keeping these ones, but,
These
know.
ones have to go in the garbage because this wrapper is partially undone, or
but
Yeah.
we would meet up, as we were walking, we would meet up with our friends and all that kind of stuff. And, when we were heading back on the other side of the street, we'd drop people off, all that kind of stuff.
nowadays you can't do a whole lot of that because people are assholes. People
Yeah.
will run your kids over for nothing. Like, they don't even pay attention to stop signs around here.
And then,
Speed limits are a joke around here.
and then once I turned 13, I stopped being able to go trick-or-treating unless my brothers wanted me to go. And I typically got stuck on, handing out candy, which
Yeah.
did lead to one of the funniest things I've ever seen on a Halloween.
Okay.
My dad, when he was younger, like 20-ish,
So a long, long time ago.
no, like 20 years ago, he had a brief stint, or he attempted a brief stint of being some sort of model. Because back when my dad was really younger, he was,
He's still in very good-looking shape for a man of his age. Sorry, Dad.
but when my dad was younger, he was hot.
Okay.
Ish. My mom will argue with me, but ish. So he attempted this, but one of the things that he did as part of the one of the photo shoots that I saw was he was like a mechanic. So he had the jumpsuit, the blue jumpsuit. You
Okay.
know, he was like working on a car, quote unquote. You know, but that was the shot. That was the shot that they got of him, right? He had the long.
Sorry, I can't.
He had the long mullet hair and the mustache
Oh
and
my
all that kind
God.
of stuff. Anyways,
So wedding pictures from your parents.
no. By the time that my mom and my dad got married, my dad had his hair a little bit like it was longer, but
Yeah.
it wasn't long like Nathaniel's is. He didn't have the long glowing locks at that point. He had trimmed it down so it was more shaggy looking, right?
He still had a mullet.
I mean, anyways, that was the style
Business
back
in
then.
the front, party in the back.
That was the style back then.
I had a mullet growing up.
I never did.
Thank God.
I
don't think
do
you
it.
could pull a
I
mullet
couldn't.
off.
My hair doesn't grow down; it poofs up. Anyways, so he had that still, right? He had a pair of work boots that he had on, or that he had. He had a pair of like real thick gloves for like gardening and getting rid of briar bushes.
Okay.
And then he topped it all off. He got a Michael Myers mask.
That's
And
great.
He, one year, wore it, the entire ensemble, and stood off of the porch in the side yard and just stood still. Now, my dad is a very patient man. Extremely
It's crazy
patient.
how patient he is.
And when he gets his mind set on pulling a prank or doing something,
Yeah.
if it means that he doesn't move for like 15, 20 minutes, he does not. He is a statue.
If it wasn't for the fact that he's a terrible shot and can't hit a deer to save his life, he'd make a pretty good sniper.
Yeah. I mean, he did get a deer.
He still won.
He technically
He
didn't.
still got the
he
deer.
didn't hit the deer. The deer hit him.
He still
with
got
a
the deer.
car-shaped bullet. Anyways.
It's metal. It's iron.
Anyways, so he's just standing in the side yard, right? And we had a couple of kids from another neighborhood and their parents, swing by, and these kids were rather loud for our little neighborhood, and the parents are loud. They got music blasting,
Yeah, basically
and
being
it's not
rude.
and it's not like Halloween music. It's really loud, obnoxious music, right?
Yeah.
But the windows are vibrating and all of that, right? Because they have this thing cranked to like 11.
Okay.
And he's just standing there. And one of the parents, like, I'm handing out candy to everybody. I'm like, hey, guys, what are you? And they're like, well, we're this and we're this. And, yeah, so where's the candy? Like, didn't say trick or treat enough and just, where's the candy? And I'm like, well, it's right here. You guys can have one piece. Oh, I'm going to grab 2. I'm going to grab 3. And I'm just like, you got to take one just because, there are
That
other
way
kids. So I
you
don't
can-
care.
Yeah.
Y'all can get more candy. And the parents are like, yeah, standing down on the sidewalk. They're-
Instigating shit.
Oh, yeah. Keep in mind, my dad can hear and see all of this. One of the parents goes, oh, that is a really cool Michael Myers, statue, Halloween thing. And the kids went to go dip their hand into the candy bowl, and like they didn't go in like 2 fingers to just pull out one. They went into like claw hand, grab candy, pull it out, and put it in their bag, right? In the split second it took for them to take their hand and reach into the bowl, my dad was across the yard and climbing up over the banister.
That's hysterical.
And the parents are frozen. The kids scream, and from where they were, so like
Yeah.
middle of the porch
Okay.
to the edge of the porch was probably about like a foot and a half, right? Then we had like 4 stairs going down.
Okay.
And then it was the sidewalk
Yeah.
leading to the main sidewalk, right? They jumped from the middle of the porch all the way down the steps and took off. Didn't get in the car that was sitting right in front of them, just took off down the street.
Yeah.
The parents took off down the street, not
Leaving
chasing
her.
after their children, running in fear. And the person in the car is dying laughing at all of this. And he turns his music down and he goes, sorry, man, I I didn't realize that they were like that. My dad's like, hey, he pulls the mask up. He goes, hey, yeah, no worries. Have a good night. Happy Halloween.
That sounds like my dad. We lived off of 7th and King, which is Denver, and my dad one year dressed as a scarecrow, and
like, are we talking like
stuffed
like,
his overalls?
No. Are we talking like Wizard of Oz scarecrow, or are we talking like Children of the Corn scarecrow?
No, I'm talking just a normal, regular, scare the crows out of your crop scarecrow.
Okay.
He dressed as a scarecrow, complete with the straw hat, the piece of straw hanging out of his mouth, painted his face, the whole 9 yards. Had straw coming out of his overalls on the bottom where it's cuffed, everything.
Well, that must have been itchy.
It was, but he
Committed.
was committed, kind of
Okay.
like your dad. He can sit and be still as long as he needs to.
Okay.
He had the bowl of candy sitting on his lap
Okay.
with a sign hanging around his neck that says, "Take one, please." Anybody that took one, he didn't move. There was this one family walked up and the kid grabbed a handful and my dad moved his arm, grabbed the kid's arm, said, "One only, please." And the kid just dropped his bag and booked it. My dad's like, "Oh, well, more candy for the rest of the neighborhood."
Refill.
And he dumped it in the thing. The parent comes up later and goes, comes up like a minute later and says, "Why are you taking my kid's candy?" And he's like, "Well, why is he trying to take half my bowl?" And the mom got all in a huff, and dad was like trying to square up and puff his chest out. And my dad's like, "You don't want to do that." And my dad is 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
And back then, he was pretty fucking stacked. He was built.
Okay.
Yeah, as he said, built like a brick shithouse. Like,
I have opinions, but go on.
he was strong.
Okay.
And he stood up in this full getup. Keep in mind, I'm inside trying not to laugh my ass off.
Yeah.
Just watching out the window. And he stands up, and this dude is like 5'6". And
Sure King.
dwarfed in front of my dad, and my dad goes, "You want to tell me again how I'm going to do what?" And that was the only time I've ever seen my dad like that close to socking somebody in their face. He says, "Maybe you should teach your children that when somebody lays a rule out, they should probably follow it."
Yeah.
And the mom and dad just leave, and he's like, "We're done trick-or-treating. You're not getting any more damn candy." And his other 2 siblings are like, "And we're not sharing." So
Hey.
it's like he didn't have any candy.
Good.
And it's just like
I'm sorry. People
It's
like that.
funny
No,
as hell.
you need to take away stuff like that. Like, the only way to stop behavior like this is to show them, like, hey, there are consequences to whatever action that you do. Now, whether or not they're positive or negative, it all depends on what you do.
yeah.
You know,
I
you
mean-
can be rewarded, and that's a positive consequence. Or you can be punished, and that is a negative consequence. It all depends on what you do and
yeah.
whether or not you're following the rules like you're supposed to.
So this, I saw a couple of heartwarming videos. Kid walked up and there was no candy in the bowl,
And he dumped
he literally dumped half of his pillowcase in
yeah,
the bowl.
I saw that. I've seen that.
Because he saw little kids coming down the street. He was 13 years old,
Yeah.
and they
Back home, he wouldn't have been
posted
able
it.
to go out.
They posted it, and it went viral, and they got in contact with these parents. The parents didn't even know he did that.
Mm.
And
See,
it's
that's-
to the point now where there's the college out there is offering him a full ride scholarship.
See, and that's how, like, the fact that the parents didn't know is how you know that this kid did it selflessly. Like, he wasn't doing it
That's
to be
the
like,
point.
look at this clout that I'm doing.
He didn't
He
even know
did
the
it-
Ring doorbell camera was there.
He did it so that way somebody else could have. And
He
he didn't brag about it.
He
He
knew
didn't
that
talk
there was a
about
bunch
it.
of little kids that are
Yeah.
right behind, like not too far behind him, a couple houses behind.
And that's how it should be. Like,
Exactly.
you shouldn't have to go ahead and sing your own praises. if it's something praiseworthy, somebody else is going to.
Good things you do are going to get noticed. Bad things you do are going to get noticed, and
The bad things
you don't want the bad publicity.
The bad things you do are going to get noticed, and noticed loudly. The good things you do are going to get noticed, but they're not going to have any attention brought to them unless it's something that people feel, hey,
is praiseworthy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that. That is why I think that they should be allowed to.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is like if these kids are not causing any trouble and they're not out doing stupid shit like partying, drinking, egging houses, toilet papering. Yeah. You know what? I did that. I toilet papered one place, and that was when I was 13 years old. I egged houses when I was 16. Got caught. My dad made me drink until the cows came home, and yeah, because I was drinking and got busted. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's punishments. And there's consequences for your actions, regardless if it's good or bad. And I mean, the next year, I took a bunch of little kids from the neighborhood that I had babysat over the years out trick-or-treating. And there was this one neighborhood bully that was trying to steal their candy. And I almost caught an assault charge because he decided to try to yank the candy out of some kid's hand. I punched him square in the face. He ended up with 2 black eyes, a broken nose, and 2 front teeth missing in one hit. And then he went home crying to Mom, and Mom had the cops called, had me in cuffs until they found out exactly what happened from the 30 children that I was gathered around, or that were gathered around me. And then they arrested him.
Yeah.
He was 17 years old doing this to little kids.
Yeah.
Like 5, 6, 7 years old.
And that's because he probably wasn't punished when he was a kid. Like, he could get away with anything.
Affluenza.
Yep. But no, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I think there should be a limit, because as you get older, it does kind of get a little weird.
You know what? Screw that. There should be no limit. Adults and children should go trick-or-treating. The adults knock on the door, you get a shooter.
Well, I mean,
drunk or treat.
then you run the risk of drinking in public or being drunk in public.
No, because you if you're smart, you gather. I went to a trick-or-treating event as an adult once after I turned 21, where I had like 50 shooters in my bag and some candy, and I didn't touch them till I got home.
Anyways,
I was smart. A lot of alcohol.
I'll put it this way. A couple of the receptionists at our work they still have a couple of buckets of candy behind the desk.
Yeah.
For in case somebody comes in and is like, hey, like they were waiting for people to come to swing by and trick or treat there, and it's like nobody did, and they're like, they got upset, but they're like, hey, we get candy.
Oh man, every time, and that's why, like, when I was on patrols and stuff like that, the night before, because they had buckets of candy and stuff the night before, I was like, as soon as midnight hit and it was officially Halloween, I walked over, was like, trick or treat. They're like, it's not Halloween. Yes, it is. Check your time. And they're like, oh. I was like, they're like, what are you dressed as? I was like, I'm dressed as a HSS security guard. And one of them's like, whew, yeah, that is scary. So, yeah, like, we had fun with it, like, during the time I was there. I'm kind of sad I wasn't there on Halloween, but I'm kind of glad I wasn't either.
You were there on Halloween.
For a few hours.
Yeah.
Early in the morning.
Well, and late at night.
No, it was.
Yeah, you were. It was Tuesday. I wasn't there.
Oh, yeah. Were. I was there on Halloween. Yep. I did trick or treat. That's right, because every time I walked by the nurse's station, I was like, trick or treat. And they're like giving me more candy. So I had like 4 pockets full of candy. And then Aaron brought in a big old gallon-sized Ziploc bag full of candy.
Which is still sitting on the counter. Which I believe only has suckers left.
Yeah.
But anyways. So what's next one? Next thing that you want to talk about.
Okay, one of the debates that's going on everywhere, pretty much everywhere, is when does the Christmas season start?
I have opinions.
Because...
serious opinions.
Yeah, so do I. But it's just like... Did we forget? There's stores with like King Supers or Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot. They already have Christmas crap out. It's like they started that in September. I'm like, did we forget Thanksgiving, Halloween?
Well, Thanksgiving isn't really like Christmas is a paid day off for a lot of places, right? Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Not us.
Not us. But like that, right?
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is one of those days where people don't celebrate it. It's not like it's a bunch of people sitting around
Pretty much
eating
everybody
food.
celebrates Thanksgiving.
But it's not like there's not a huge matter of importance around Thanksgiving, which is a shame because I think there should be. Like
Thanksgiving
Christmas,
is one of my favorite holidays.
just like Christmas. Thanksgiving is about family coming together to celebrate and to be thankful. The difference is that Christmas you get stuff. Thanksgiving you get food and then the itis, and that's it.
Pretty much, but it's like
and
love
diabetes if you're depending on how you make your food.
I love Thanksgiving. I don't know what it is, but I love Thanksgiving. I love being able to cook, even though it's time consuming and tiring.
Oh yeah.
Like I will be up, like I'll get home that morning because it's a Thursday.
Yeah.
Every year. I'll get home that morning and I won't get to go to bed until after I have the turkey or after I have the ham in the oven, and then I get to take the ham out of the oven and put the turkey in, and then I can go to bed.
Yeah.
So I'll be up until probably noonish.
Yeah.
And then I'll get a couple hours of sleep, and then I'll have to take the turkey out, or I'll get a couple hours of sleep. Turkey won't be quite done yet, and I'll have to do the rest of the sides. And it's just like,
But anyways,
I hate the process, but I love the holiday. So people are like all up in arms and saying, "Oh, the Christmas season starts like before Halloween," and people are already playing Christmas music. Stores are starting to cycle through and have a few Christmas songs here and there, and it's just like no. And then we had that on the whiteboard in the back in the ER. It's when does the Christmas season start? Already started, November 1st, or the day after Thanksgiving. And a lot of people are like day after Thanksgiving, which is my same opinion. Like,
I have opinions. So here's my opinion. There is a pretty famous song that even in elementary school you learn. It's the 12 days of Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay. First day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. Partridge in a pear tree, yada yada.
Yada
right?
yada. So on and so forth.
That is when I believe Christmas should start. 12 days prior. None of this fucking, we're going to start on Black Friday. That's when every fucking radio station is playing Christmas music.
November 1st, Cozy 101 starts playing Christmas music. I don't get it either.
That's too soon for me.
It's too soon.
I mean, even if you want to look at it this way, you want to start Christmas, fine. You don't want to start it, you don't want to have just 12 days, fine. Start it December 1st. Start it December 1st. And December...
Which is only like a day or two after...
Black Friday.
Black Friday.
Yeah.
And I can get that. I can get on board with that.
And Christmas music should be stopped the day after Christmas Day.
Yes.
On the 26th.
And I am telling you right now, if I have to hear Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, I'm going to lose my ever-loving shit.
We have a room for you in the back.
It's 24, 25, or 26. I'll take 26.
We'll put you in 24.
Actually, you know what? I'll take 24 because I like 24. It's hidden. You can't see shit on camera,
No, you can.
I'm talking about main camera. I'm not talking about the 4 camera that we have to look at.
I don't care. I can still see you.
But
I see everything.
I will gladly take a vacation for 3 days with nothing I own.
I honestly believe that people keep trying to inch Christmas up more and more. Do I understand the message of Christmas?
Soon Christmas is going to be year-round.
Do I understand the message of Christmas? Absolutely. I get it. It's a great time, and there's a lot of people who really enjoy the Christmas season, and I'm not going to knock them for it. I'm really not.
You know what I look forward to around the Christmas season?
Cookies.
No.
Oh,
The Doctor Who Christmas special.
sure.
Nerd.
Nerd. Anyways, no, like, however, everything has to be taken into consideration. Halloween gets a day. That's it. Unless you're like us and we celebrate Halloween the entire month of October. It's fantastic. You know,
Yes. But it's only the month of October.
yeah. You know, we have like less than a year until Halloween comes around again.
365 days till next month. 364.
A little bit longer than that.
I'm talking about the Nightmare Before Christmas.
But no, like, you have to temper it because otherwise it gets overbearing. And for those people who celebrate Christmas, great, temper it. However,
And don't make it about keeping up with the Joneses. Your kids don't need 150 gifts.
the one thing that I will say is not every person celebrates Christmas. There are plenty of people who don't celebrate anything. There are plenty of people who have an alternative Christmas,
Yeah.
like or
Hanukkah. Hanukkah's a good example of that.
well, it's not really an alternative Christmas, but like
Yeah.
they have their own religious celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Let them celebrate it, and don't go around and being like Merry
That's the f-
Christmas,
That's
Merry
the
Christmas, Happy Holidays,
Happy Holidays is a great
because
phrase.
it's a neutral thing. You're
Yeah.
not gonna like. Do people go ahead and they're like, fuck that, I'm gonna say Merry Christmas because that's fine. That's on
That's
you,
your
bud.
opinion.
But don't sit there and try to get on somebody else because they respond to you Happy Holidays. Fuck you, it's not Happy Holidays. I'll celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate Christmas. Now what? What? You don't celebrate Christmas? Well, what do you celebrate? I celebrate spending time with my family and friends.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that personally. I do celebrate Christmas.
I do celebrate Christmas. I love Christmas.
But there are people out there that don't jump down their throat because, that's what you celebrate.
I mean,
Just
it's going to be weird for me this year because for the first time in like 10 years, I'm off on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm off every day, as you say, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually off on Thanksgiving and the day after.
Yeah.
So if I want to do some Christmas shopping on Black Friday,
Good luck.
I'm going to be tired as fuck.
No, like I am never going to go ahead and be like, hey, you need to conform to what I say. Because that's pretty much what it ends up being.
Exactly.
If that was the case, then anybody who celebrates anything can go around and be like, "Merry Christmas." No, I don't celebrate Christmas. I celebrate Kwanzaa.
You have
Happy
to celebrate
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa.
You have to say Happy Kwanzaa to me.
Yeah,
I
and
celebrate Hanukkah. You have to say Happy Hanukkah to me. No,
I will celebrate Hanukkah every year.
I will sit there and I will say Happy Holidays.
Yeah.
I'm wishing you a happy whatever you celebrate
Mhm.
day.
And that's it, and that's the way it should be. I mean, you've got, like I said, we're having the same fucking fights in 2023 that we shouldn't be having anymore. Like, seriously, your neighbor doesn't celebrate Christmas? Be like, hey, I brought you a plate. I'm not sure if you celebrate, but here. Being kind to your neighbor, being kind to others around you, that's what the holiday season is about.
Well, even if you look at it, Christmas. That's what Christmas is about. It's celebrating the birth of your Savior,
Yes.
right? You're celebrating the birth of Christ,
Yep.
even though technically he was born in.
March, April.
Anyways,
Confusing.
but no,
Anyway.
you're celebrating the birth of a religious figure, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that this religious figure said is treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Be kind to your neighbors.
Don't covet your neighbor's wife.
Well,
I mean,
that's the 10th commandment. That's one of the commandments. But no, he said, "Love thy neighbor as thyself." And that was one of his biggest messages is love. He spread love. So
Kindness.
like be kind to people.
it's
There's
like
not
exactly
you want to know how much it costs for you to be kind to somebody?
nothing.
$0. It is free. But yet people want to be like, well, I'll be nice to you if you. No, fuck that. If you honestly want to be nice
to somebody
if
they can give them something back.
If you want to be nice, be nice. It doesn't cost you anything, and it doesn't hurt anything. Be nice. Be kind to each other.
Don't forget to love each other.
Yeah.
I mean, we say it every week.
So that's fuck you, Mariah Carey, for that horrible fucking shit that's been going on for years.
We don't like it.
End all be all. Next.
Okay.
So I actually have something I do want to talk about here, and it coincides with something that I saw today at work. It's like there's a disconnect, and I don't know why or what or whatever.
Okay.
So it all goes back to, there was a video that I saw a couple months ago where this police officer had brought in a suspect who was a suspect because of drunk driving, right?
Okay.
And the doc they brought him into a hospital, and the nurse that was on hold or on standby, the charge nurse, whatever, was like, "Hey, I can't do this because he's not able to give legal consent." And the cop's like, "Well, I need this so that way I could go on with my investigation, get evidence, that kind of stuff." And the nurse just outright refused to do it. Something similar to that happened today, and I just was wondering, what's your opinion, having been in the medical field? What's your opinion on that?
If an officer brings them in, the least that we can do is the blood draw to test their alcohol level or their intoxication, whether it be drugs or alcohol.
Okay. Let's put it like this.
Or urine.
Let's put it like this. It's not an officer that brings them in. It's an EMS or it's a ambulance service that brings them in, right?
But if the police officer is walking in behind them, they still have...
Let me finish.
Okay.
The officer doesn't show up until about 5 to 10 minutes after the patient has been brought, or the person has been brought in. And let's say the patient is suffering from a mental health crisis, right?
Okay.
And the doc's like, this person's not safe to be by themselves.
Okay.
So we have to put them on a hold until they can talk to our psych team, and the psych team can evaluate and say this person's well enough to understand what's going on, or no, they're not.
Okay.
And then the officer comes in and is like, "Oh, by the way, this person is under arrest because insert whatever," right?
Okay.
What's your feeling? What's your opinion on that?
So basically, I would ask the officer first if they have a case number. Because if they have a case number, obviously there's an investigation going on, and we should always cooperate with an investigation.
Okay.
But if there's no case number and no investigation, you don't have to give them shit. And a lot of hospitals actually prefer it that way. We protect our patients' rights at all costs.
Yeah.
And if that means telling an officer no and having them subpoena the records, because we're running the tests already, because we want to know what they're on, want to know what their blood alcohol level is, and all that good stuff already. Want to know if that's a contributing factor or if it is just the mental illness.
Okay.
So we're already running those tests. They can subpoena the records. So you don't have to give them the results or the stuff then. They can subpoena the records later on. If that means that there's an extra watch for us in security, cool, whatever. If it means that the officer is going to stay there until they get a court order for the results, cool, we don't have to watch them. But the thing is that they have to remember, too, that we have to follow the rules that we have.
Yeah. Like, and I get that. And
First and foremost.
My personal thing is there are a lot of good cops out there who follow the rules, play by the rules. They do exactly what they're supposed to.
Arapahoe County is big on that.
How they're supposed to, right?
Yeah.
But then there are always those bad apples, those bad actors who are like, I'm going to push my weight around because I am an officer. You have to do what I tell you because I'm an officer and I have the power to arrest you. And so they'll try to be like, look, This is what's going to happen, yada yada. And they try to do that. My favorite people, however, are those who look at the cops who are trying to do this and look at them to like, nah, you're not. Because if this happens the way that you're wanting it to, it's not your career. It's mine.
Yeah, and some officers don't give a shit about that.
They really don't.
But Arapahoe County is really good about following the rules. Douglas County is not good at following the rules. Jefferson County is good on following the rules. It's only that one bad apple in Douglas County that likes to do that. And most of them are the female officers.
Now, I never really had any sort of interactions with any police officers when I was younger and living back home.
Yeah.
We had West Shore Police. I had maybe one or two interactions with them, but they're like, look, we're going to do this. We just need you to do this. If you choose not to, that's fine. But there will, and they laid out everything, and I had my dad there, and he was, I had somebody who was, because at the time I was a minor, I had somebody there who wasn't, and, who was my guardian and my parent there, and my dad was like, go ahead, and, all this, that, and the other thing, and so I did have that support, but past that, I didn't really have, and that was just one incident, and it was literally one interaction. That's all I had. Past that, I didn't really get in trouble as a kid, or at least I didn't get caught.
I didn't get in trouble as a kid until like my freshman year of high school, and then I got into trouble with school or whatever, and then I had one interaction with the police, and that was it.
Okay, let me make a correction. I didn't get in trouble with the police. I only got in trouble with my parents. I got in trouble with the police once when I was younger. That's it. Everything else was my parents. They threatened. They told me, like, if you keep this up, this is what's going to happen, and I made sure not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But like the police, here's my general belief.
Okay.
Now, whether or not this is yours or anybody else's, that's fine. Here's my personal belief. The police aren't as bad as a lot of mainstream media will make it out to be.
No, they're not.
Are there bad actors and
Yes.
bad police officers in the various forces across the United States? Absolutely. There are people like that across the planet in these different police departments. However, there are more good than bad.
And that's what you have to look at.
There are more police officers who help, that do more, that do good, that aren't crooked, or they don't try to toss their weight around or whatever, than there are those who try to do all this and assume that they're not going to get caught, or they have enough pull that they can bury it. And the problem is,
officers that like to try to cover things up are terrible.
Like we said at the beginning, consequences do have actions. You do something you're supposed to, or your actions have consequences. You do something you're supposed to, then you're good. You'll get rewarded. You do something you're not supposed to, then you get punished. And it's those actions, that the bad actions, that get more of a spotlight, because it's like, look at what we're failing here versus look at what good we've done. People get sensationalized by bad news, and it's backwards. We shouldn't be like looking for the bad. We should be looking for the good.
Because if you look for the bad, all you're going to see is bad.
Yeah. I mean, is there bad out there? Absolutely. I mean, we have everything that's going on across the planet, the different wars that are going on, even to this day. We have bad stuff happening. Do we have to focus on it? No. Acknowledge it? Sure.
Move on.
But we don't have to focus
exactly.
on it. There's so much good that's going on. In comparison, how many airplanes take off, get to where they're going, and land safely versus planes that
take off and have an accident.
They go down.
Emergency landing.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know.
It is like one bad out of every 100,000. That's not actual numbers. I don't know what the actual percentage is. But it's
still the idea. And I mean, if people say, United. We'll use United as an example because United is terrible. I've had nothing but terrible experiences with United, but that's another story. You have 100 planes of United that take off. One of them has mechanical issues and has to make an emergency landing. Everybody's going to be like, well, what's United doing with their mechanics and yada, 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 and got to be blaming the whole industry. And it's not. It's one plane. So, I mean, I don't know. People are so pessimistic and it bothers me.
We need to start focusing on the good that happens in the world. Like, that's why I love some of these, like, internet news shows that is like, hey, like Philly D, for example, Today in Awesome, or Banff of the Day, stuff like that. Right?
Sorry if you hear noises in the background. Our cat's trying to open our door.
That is something that needs to be celebrated more than what the bad happens. Because if the more that we celebrate the good, the more that we're looking at the good. The more that we celebrate the bad, or we acknowledge or bring up the bad, the more that's what all we're going to see is. Let's celebrate the Banffs of the day. Let's celebrate the awesome moments. Let's celebrate these people who show that
are
they
doing
care.
good in the world.
Yeah, let's
celebrate these kids that are giving back.
Let's celebrate these kids who see that there is an empty candy bowl and they dump half their candy into the bowl so that way somebody else can have it. Let's celebrate that.
Yeah.
But we don't.
No,
and
it's
sad. That's the sad part. Like but once again it goes back to we sensationalize and we focus on, oh, this person was shot today. Oh, I mean, and don't get me wrong, it should be acknowledged, but it shouldn't be the only thing that we focus on. Like, this person was shot today. We're investigating, police are investigating to find out what's going on. And once we know more, then you'll know more. And we just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And when there's a funeral, when there's, a celebration of life like they do down in Louisiana, we should have celebrations of life. We shouldn't have funerals.
Right? Do the Louisiana style.
The Nolans style.
Celebrate them coming in, celebrate them going out.
Yeah, let's do that. Granted,
I'm all for that.
I'm gonna have a giant party with bottle rockets and fireworks and stuff when I go.
I'm not making you into fireworks.
Come on.
No.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
No.
I want to spread my chaos just a little bit.
I'll make you into one firework.
And make sure it's the biggest firework.
No.
M80 style.
No, I'll make you into one of those big, colorful things that explode in the air and spread further.
Yay. Anyways.
I think we should cut it there.
No, I mean, we still got time. We still got time.
You're driving me nuts.
You always drive me nuts. I don't want to hear it. But let's finish it out with something that you want to talk about here. Let's do that. Because we always seem to focus on what I want to talk about.
I did the first two.
Let's hear from you.
Ew.
Like, what's something on your mind that's like been burrowing and like bugging and like
something that I want to get back into that Faith and I used to do.
Okay.
I want to start making crocheting hats again, from itty bitty beaker baby, like preemie, all the way up through adult, and donate the little ones to the NICU and put the bigger adult size hats in our stash in the back, so when we do get these homeless people or these patients that come in with nothing and it's cold outside, we can give them a hat.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
When I was
younger, my mum tried to, as a way of relaxation and calming me down, attempted to teach me how to crochet.
Yeah, that didn't happen. That didn't work out well.
It surprisingly, you
can do a chain.
I can do several chains and several stacks of those chains. Like I think the most I got up to was 5, and then I lost everything.
Yeah.
Like, I lost the chain, I lost the hook, I lost the yarn. I was just like, fuck it, I'm not doing this again. But yeah, I mean, she tried teaching me as something that would help calm my brain down.
Yeah.
And that's actually
give you something to focus on.
which that's why I can read books for hours and not have my ADD kick in.
Yeah.
Or I can read for hours and not have my ADD kick in because it's something that my mom taught me is if you focus on something that's interesting and you can find a pattern for it, your brain will focus on that pattern and allow you the ability to concentrate and focus on everything else, which is why I say pretty much all the time, in order for me to have a serious conversation with somebody, I have to have like 16 different things going on in my head in order for me to focus on one thing. And that's thanks to my mom. So, I mean, if you want to start crocheting or knitting or whatever it is that you said, because I can't remember because my ADD.
Crocheting.
I say go for it.
I just want to feel like we used to do it back when we were all living in the hooker house. Yeah, I know.
But the old house.
The old house. And we used to do that all the time. And then after she passed, I didn't do it as much. And I've kind of slowed down and not done a whole lot of crocheting. And I've just been thinking about it a lot lately. And crocheting little blankets and hats for these NICU babies. And crocheting hats for some of the unfortunate people that come across our desk, that type of deal. Doing a little something to give back would make me feel good.
Yeah, like I said, I say go for it, especially if it's something that you want to do. The only thing is we have an entire bag.
I have to go through that yarn and see what's been destroyed.
Nope, I say we don't even do that. We go scorched earth and we start over. You get fresh skeins. Things of wool and hirn.
Yeah.
We start all over again. You could start your collection again, and that'll get rid of a bag out of my closet.
Yeah, but it'll end up being another collection in another bag because I'm going to go. Yeah, well.
Not if you're doing it all the time.
Not if I'm doing it all the time, yeah. So, anyway.
But yeah. So I think that is a good spot. So, as always, thank you all so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. If you are listening to us on Spotify and you want to show Spotify that, hey, we like what we're hearing, we want to hear more, hit that download button. It like I said, it shows them that you like what you hear, and it's one way of supporting us by getting us out there to more people.
And if you would like to donate, we're not saying you have to. We do have the download button or the donate button on the
in the description.
Yeah, that thing.
We'll get you there. We'll get you there.
Hey, and you know what? I can use that towards yarn for these projects.
Sure. Sure. Not like we don't already have plans for once we have some disposable income.
What's that?
Yeah, I know, right?
Anyway.
But as always, thank you all so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. Just remember, don't forget to love each other, especially during this time and this day and age. Don't forget to love each other. Treat your neighbors and love your neighbors. They could be the biggest cocksuckers on the planet.
Don't forget to love each other.
Because
kill them with kindness.
And not a sword that you bought and named kindness.
What?
Show them love. You might not think that they deserve it, and that might be the case. But it never hurts to be nice to someone. And the best part about being nice to someone who's a dick to you, it pisses them off.
Even more.
Do it out of spite, if that helps. Anyways.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.